Yeah.
Back on Morning Line with us is an attorney, Tim Takis, with his bow tie and everything.
Yeah, there it is, yeah.
He is an elder care attorney.
I know. Where's your bow tie today?
I don't.
You don't usually wear one.
If I had one, it'd be a clip-on too.
Okay.
You tie yours, don't you?
I do tie mine. I'm sorry. I should bring. I'm sorry. You were in a roll
If you teach me how, you ought to get me
I will, yeah.
a bow tie. I don't.
Yeah.
It's your look though. You know that.
Yeah.
Stapper. All right. The number 737-7587 is we went to the break just asking, do you have a will? Have you put one together yet? It's never too late to put together a will. Okay, you deal with this on a regular basis.
Yeah, now think of, all right, now when we talk about wills, you know, we're really talking about doing an estate plan.
Okay.
All right, because you know, many people are accustomed to, and lawyers are the kind of like the fault of this, is that, you know, people call a lawyer and they'll say, well, how much do you charge for wills and powers of attorney? Okay, and we say is that, well, we do estate planning. Right, we don't sell documents. You know, people come to us. Right. You know, and
you can download a document.
Yeah, sure. You know, and it's kind of like, you know, I sometimes, you know, analogize what we do with like what doctors do. Okay, it's like if you call the doctor and say, okay, doctor, how much do you charge for, you know, giving me a shot of this and shot of that? You know, the doctor would say, get out of here.
Yeah, right.
Okay, it's our job, meaning the doctor says, it's, you know, you come into me and you tell me, you know, give me your history, tell me why you're here and what you want, you know, and I will tell you what we you know, how we should set up.
How we reach that goal of whatever it is.
Whatever it is that you're wanting, you know, and it's the same.
Diagnosis.
Yes, it's the same way with estate planning.
Okay. So meaning that someone should come in and say, I want to plan for the future for either myself or a loved one.
Right.
And how do we do that?
How do we do that? You know, and you know, now
part of that would be maybe power of attorney, right?
Absolutely. You know, we might say is, okay, let's, you know, some people maybe already have one.
Okay.
You know, and they're thinking, well, you know, maybe I downloaded this, or maybe I got this from, you know, we have people that come to us from other states and say, well, is this still good? Yeah, it is.
Now, you explain to folks just real quick, power of attorney, what it allows folks to do.
Basically, what it does is that you name, you know, it's a written document where you name somebody to make legal and financial decisions for yourself.
Okay.
And then there's another document which is a healthcare power of attorney, which is for healthcare decision making, where you name a healthcare agent, someone that can make healthcare decisions.
And this and you would say, well, why would you do that in the occasion that maybe you are incapacitated and cannot make that decision?
Oh yeah, think about it is that you're in the hospital and you're in the operating room, you know, and they say they find something and they come out and okay, who do we ask?
Yeah, to move forward, the doctors legally have to have permission to do that.
Right.
And so they'd come out and ask me or whatever.
Right, or whatever, and say, well, your wife's doing, you know, this is what we found, what should we do?
So power of attorney sometimes, and you hear about conservatorships.
Yes.
That's the extreme, right?
That's the extreme, and that's where people basically need they need the assistance, supervision, or protection of the court because they don't have a decision maker, someone to make decisions for themselves, you know, and they need some sort of court oversight. You know, and that's a conservatorship. And
that would be someone who maybe has a very advanced Alzheimer's and is basically no longer able to care for themselves in any way.
Very possibly. That's
one example.
Yeah, that's one example, right. And they have not named a person, or maybe they've named a person and that person is unavailable or for whatever reason can't do it. Okay.
In your mind, and I kind of learned this from you, that's obviously the very last resort, and you would try to seek any alternative, hopefully getting by just with power of attorney before seeking a
if we can. And the reason for that is that families come to us, you know, in those situations where you have maybe an incapacitated older person. Yeah, they come to us because they are trying to stay in control of their loved one's affairs. You know, they don't want to go to court if they can help it. Because once they go to court and they get named as conservator, the way I put it is that now the judge tells them how they can take care of their mom.
Well, I thought the judge just names you conservator. Does he outline what you're supposed to do?
You have to get court permission as to how you're spending their money. You know,
that's a good thing.
Sure, and that is if there's no other option. You know, otherwise, you know, you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
You know, but most families are coming to us because they want to stay in control of their loved one's affairs.
Right.
You know, and obviously as long as their heart's in the right place, and frankly, if they're coming to us, the way I usually put it, you know, and you've heard me say this before, is that children already know how to steal from their parents. You know, they don't need our help. They don't come to us to get help with that, right?
No, I think they already know.
They come to us because they want to do it the right way.
Yep. So the vast majority, I mean, very rare have you ever come across anyone you came in where, I'm sure if you had, you would turn them away.
We would.
You thought they were after the wrong thing.
Yeah, and we talked about that earlier. If you're not focused on making sure that your mom and dad are taken care of, or your spouse, or whatever it is, you're probably not going to be a good fit for this office.
Let's take a call from Celia, because this may get the calls rolling as you know the show moves on. And we do have lines open, so your chance to ask. And good for Celia. Good morning to you, Celia. You're first on the line. What can we do for you?
Yes, I got a elderly person. She's in a nursing home, and I was just worried about her. She just only have me as a relative, but there's some more relatives out there. I can't get in contact with them, but I'm the only one closer to her. So I would just want to know, how would I be able to get power of attorney over her? They took her out of her home, but her home is, I don't know what's going on with it, but I need some assistance trying to see what's going on with her home.
And she's now in a nursing home?
Yes, she's now is in a nursing home.
And there's no real other family, direct family. You are a good friend.
Yes, I am. I'm her niece.
Oh, you're her niece, so you are related to her to some degree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so she's your aunt. All right, this is interesting.
Yeah, and that's one where, you know, we get those cases from time to time.
She's concerned, but the other family's more direct, closer relatives are not really involved.
Yeah, or maybe maybe they're not around.
Yeah, right.
Who knows? But so, you know, the way that. So Celia comes in, or she goes to the attorney and says, all right, how do I make sure that for one, she needs to be able to make decisions for her aunt.
Okay.
All right, and so that means, like we were just talking about, can she get a durable power of attorney?
Can she has a...
Yeah, in other words, does her aunt have the legal capacity to sign the document?
Do you think your aunt is still pretty lucid, or is she beginning to lose her mind?
Well, yes.
Sometimes it comes.
Yes, she is kind of
forgetful.
Know what's going on, but and on this side, they're trying to make her like that she's not got too much conditioner in her condition. You know, they're trying to make like she's losing her mind.
Yeah. Okay. So but the aunt has to sign off.
Yeah,
to make Celia.
she has to sign off or make a mark or something. But the important thing is that that the aunt has to understand. She has to have some comprehension of what the document is. What is she doing?
Okay.
She's basically she is sharing her right to make her own right to make decisions with her niece.
With her niece. That's right.
Yeah, that's really what she's doing. Okay. She doesn't lose control. She's just sharing that control, you know, with her niece, so that then the niece can say, okay, I can pay her bills, I can invest her money,
if that's said, then,
I can sell the house.
In a straightforward manner, describe to Celia what steps she needs to take, 1 through 3, to get this done.
Okay, one is that obviously, you know, you go get legal counsel.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So she could seek to talk to Tim.
Seek to talk to me or somebody else. You know, if we can't help her, we'll find somebody that would. But then, so she goes talk to somebody. That person will say, the lawyer will say, all right, we can help you. Maybe the lawyer needs to make a trip to the nursing facility and evaluate for himself or herself. Can she sign the document? Does she understand it? Okay. So she can. She signs. All right. Now Celia can make decisions for her aunt.
Okay, and that's what she's after.
That's what she's after.
To protect her and try to make sure she gets.
So she can make sure that the nursing home gets paid, or maybe if she's going to get better, can she come home? Or maybe she can't come home, but she has to go to another care facility like assisted living.
With this, would she be in a position to maybe deal with the house, as she said?
If she has power of attorney, yes.
Maybe if they wanted to sell that, so they'd have the money
to take care of her, right?
For the woman,
right? You know, and we've talked about before is that, you know, what benefits is she getting? You know, is she Social Security? Is she entitled to a VA widow's pension? Are there other things that
that maybe they haven't even thought about?
Right.
That's a good point.
And so Celia needs to be able to do some investigation of that, and and she has to have authority to act for her aunt.
Right. Right, and but that's where the lawyer like you helps out, because there's so many things that Celia and others don't think about.
Right, so she can navigate her way through the system.
Yeah, she's probably getting Social Security, and she has some money in a house.
Right.
And so, but all that can be sorted out to find, you know, the best way to care for this woman.
Yeah, because you don't know what I mean, she says she has a house, and presumably that's easy enough to find, but does she have a bank account? Obviously, Social Security is going into her bank account.
So
does she have other money?
But in your mind, then, the answer for her to pursue this is to start off with maybe
getting legal authority.
Getting the legal advice and going and getting maybe a power of attorney.
Right.
Which is what we were just talking about.
Right, so now Celia knows that I can make decisions for my aunt.
Okay, which is one now, and what you described is perfectly fine. Again, there are many people who are going to be watching out there that say that sounds great, but how much is a lawyer going to cost me?
Right.
And I hate to have to go there, Tim, but I mean, you have some clients that have a lot of money, and you have some that don't have as much, and you work it out. But I mean, this woman sounds like she's older and on a fixed income. She'd like to help, but realistically, how much should she expect to pay to at least get a power of attorney?
Probably for something like just as basic as getting the power of attorney, you know, we're talking about maybe $500 to $750.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just ballparking that, because if that's I would say to a lot of people, I would say, you know, there are a lot of lawyers that would just basically do that kind of work. Now, they're not necessarily going to be doing the comprehensive planning like we do.
That's what I was going to say. It goes beyond just, you're not just giving them a form and filling it out. You're going to do some of the planning that comes, that'll be covered in there with it, right?
You know, one of the things that we do is we do all of our work on a fixed fee basis.
Yeah, okay.
In other words, we don't do any hourly work. You know, when we say, okay, we're going to do this for you, and it's going to be X, then that's what we're going to do.
You're not going to be surprised with a big
And we also do we also do what we call it. We do all of our representations over time. So you know, because older people, you know, they need help a lot of times, you know, for the long haul, for years, 2 years, 3 years. So we may do a 1-year representation. So because their circumstances may change.
All right. Well, listen, Celia, stick around. If nothing more, you can call and get a consultation. We'll have Tim's number up at the end of the show. That's one aspect of things that you can look into. But I appreciate you caring about your aunt. Let's go to. We have Kim. Hi, Kim. Good morning.
Hello.
Hey, how can we help you?
Yes. We have been told, I am my parents' oldest daughter. We have been told that my mother only has a very short time, and we have hospice care for her. We also have my father on hospice care. Neither parent can leave the home. We are in need of power of attorney simply to pay bills for sitters and the outstanding hospital bills for my mother. And was wondering if the firm that he works for possibly makes home visits to take care of documents such as power of attorney.
Yeah, we do that. And in fact, that's pretty typical
her parents
for
can't
us.
Get out, and so you would go to them.
Right, and you know, we talked about, you know, there are elder care coordinators, and we have other members of the firm. Typically, Barbara and I don't do home visits, but we occasionally will do. But that's really what the elder care coordinators will do.
They would go to the home
they would
and
go,
talk to them about what they need and help them set up power of attorney.
Right.
Because she could go there and be with them. They could explain it. You think your parents are in a condition to be able to understand what power of attorney is and would sign it?
Yes.
So
okay, there you go.
So she comes in, let's say, to our practice, and we talk to her, you know, and because remember, still her mom and dad are our clients.
Yes. Right.
So, you know, so she's saying as well, I don't have authority to act for my mom and dad, but because they don't have powers of attorney, so we can't do much until we actually meet with them to see whether they're able to hire us.
Right.
Because it's going to be, you know, it's the client, you know, it's the older people that have to have capacity to hire us.
Right.
But if they have capacity to hire us, they can sign a power of attorney.
Okay. And then she can have.
So then we can start planning. You know, if her parents can't come in, maybe that their daughter comes in and says, "Okay, I need a plan."
All right, Kim,
for my mom and dad.
The answer to that is yes. Did you have another question, or does that make sense, or you understand where you go from here?
Yes.
Okay, I think that's great. So you need to set up the power of attorney so that you get. How are you guys dealing with these bills now?
This was all very recent. My mother just came home last week.
I got you. I'm so sorry. Yeah, and that's how it works out. And she's moving on it now, which is wonderful.
Right.
And I think it's, trust me, Kim, I've been through kind of the same type of situation with my folks, and you can get it done. You really can. It's not difficult, and once you have it, it does make things an awful lot easier. You know, where you have more control, and then your parents don't have to worry about it. So, I appreciate the call, and stick around. We'll have Tim's information up there, but what she just described, her mom came back and it just hit. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, it's hard to think ahead of time, but if you get it in place before this happens. Right. Of course, she didn't know her mom was going to get sick like that. So, but you can get, well, you and I right now, would it be in our best interest, mine right now, to make sure that, for instance, my wife or someone else has power of attorney for me, even though right now I'm fine and don't need that? Yeah,
because you could go home this afternoon and be in an automobile accident and be not so fine.
Yep. I think it's a good idea. I mean, for people to have power of attorney over, you know. And, well, listen, let's take a break on that note. We got more calls. It always starts at 8:30 and then it rolls, you know. All right, we'll take more calls from you for our expert. Tim, take us right after this.